Hello everyone, welcome back to Napoleonic Wars, and it is of course the joy that is another 33rd historical line battle event. And here we are, as you can see, Rinseaid giving the commands to the various teams as they move out in this first stage. Stage 1, the struggle for Eylau. On the 7th of February 1807, with the arrival of Augereau's troops, French corps outside the town of Eylau now have the strength to press the Russian rearguard as it covers the main Russian army's retreat. The engagement quickly escalates into a bitter struggle for the town and shelter it will offer the victor against the cold night closing in. The action continues in the night, the Russians making the French troops pay dearly for every building and street. So, here we are, it's 1807. As you can see, cavalry moving out. And these fine French forces, you can see the lights of the 1st Brigade, 56th. Oh, goodness me, they've lost one already. Holy crap, that was unfortunate. Usually Gesture is in there doing a little bit of evil and a little bit of a drive-by, and oh my goodness, look at this. As a 32nd, oh sorry, the 92nd and the 32nd getting into a massive stand-up fight, as you can see. Huge amount of melee. There's a sneaky little bugger up the top here, that's a Zos. More down by the thatching, and here we go, the fight, as this is a siege. The Russians trying to defend. There's Adrian 42, who happens to be from Switzerland by the telling of his name. There's Gesture again. Golden Fizz of the 33rd. Doesn't he look handsome? Look at that. Fine orange corpse. Anyway, so you can see these guys basically trying to move in and capture this point. Being defended ably by the Russians. And you've got over here the NR-15. Sorry, the NR-19 with Julianator in command. And there's Zeman. And look at that. Doesn't he look fantastic? Kazi. Or Kahazi, in obviously a bit of surgery being done by him. Not sure he can help some of these guys, but he's going in to pick up a musket. Now, you can, oh dear, Russian corpses continue to fall down the side of the thatching. French people charging over the top, which as you can imagine is a little bit disconcerting for them. And they're having a little bit of a stamina grab up the top. Meanwhile, down below, oh my goodness, it's a horse. It's an ex-horse. And there you can see from the Swiss 5E, Rick has been felled. Look at that, 33rd Recruit Dracula sadly will not live forever. Now let's look out here to, oh goodness. Oh no. And here is Sir Legion, Trooper of the 33rd. Going in for a slice in the dice, and there we go. Down goes the horse of Mayo from the 1st. The IOVN. E-I-E-I-E-I-E-I-O. There we go. Old MacDonald's regiment. They've been around for a long time. Anyway, oh my goodness, there's a little bit of a team kill in there as well, as these guys continuing to push this point. You can see the horses essentially swarming around the area. Now, they're obviously looking to try and get any kind of kill they can. Any stragglers who are out in between the buildings and in the general area means they can pick them off at will. But you've got these fellas here from the 56th. There we go, there's Esios. There's a Conda. And Del Suna. Who's this fellow? It's Gargi, adjutant of the 56th. And you can see these guys basically trying to put as much pressure. Oh my goodness, it's Sharpshooter from the 3PP, going ham in the centre. Look at that. The officer's sabre doing damage as well. Fine work coming in from him. He's doing a great job, his Sharpshooter. Well, he was, until he got unceremoniously murdered. What's going on in here? Oh, there's a little bit of a tete-a-tete going on. Private Sanders is upstairs, trying to stay out of the way. Oh, there we go. The bell has tolled. And we're having trouble getting into that building. Anyway, You can see more troops coming in. Zimmermann Undine of the KKPK. And also from the NR19 is Failmaster. And you can see the French holding this point. The 33rd Major Cedric and Lance Corporal Aldrich doing their best to hold it. And wow, okay, so they managed to hold it. Look at that. That was quite impressive. Good stuff for a first stage. We shall move on. Well, as you can see, we've stumbled into the middle of a snowstorm. But this is, in fact, Stage 2. Stage 2, Augereau's offensive. On the morning of the 8th, both armies draw themselves up to give battle on opposite ridges. Eylau still under French occupation in the centre. The French army is in a vulnerable position, with 2 of its corps yet to make an appearance on the field. The Allies have the numerical advantage. However, Napoleon regardless seizes initiative and orders Augereau's troops out of Eylau to attack the Russian centre, hoping to occupy the enemy for long enough for Davout's corps to arrive on the field and attack their flank. A storm, which could be present most of the day, shrouds the Russians as the French march blindly towards their positions. So, the guys getting lined up, and as you can see, we're here at the Russian spawn. Fine drumming even, from Crisien. We shall call him that. And now, let's see. Here is the bomb from, of course, the infantry von Nassau, the first and only, probably, at the moment. The 3PP, look at these fine fellows. Don't they look all handsome? The fine moustache of sharpshooter. Oh, goodness me, look at this lot. It is the NR19 with Julie Nater in charge. Here is the 32nd with Lieutenant Tylerus Son's horse. Now, aha, the 33rd. Here they are. And there's a man on a horse. In fact, no, he's getting off a horse. And now they're punching a horse. So here you can see Derpy Yordi there, the 33rd. Captain Sneaky Fellow in there as well. 1st Brigade, 56th. All these fine fellows. Fusilier Haynes. And there, of course, our old friends, the Vieille Garde. There's Berthaud. And there's Jean Leblanc. There he is, he's reserve. So they've reserved him, obviously. Sergeant Baptiste. And there he is, of course, the walrus that is Colonel Lepage. Doesn't he look handsome? To be honest, it's difficult to tell in a snowstorm, especially with that moustache. I mean, he probably just blends into the background. Look at this. There he is, Lieutenant Colonel Rinsaid. Fantastic, and I think that's a new face. That looks like a new face. It might be a new one. So, here we go. They begin the advance towards the enemy in a slow walk. Now, fortunately there's no cannons for the VA Guard to intercept with their faces today. So, we are looking at the waiting forces of the Russian army. Look at these guys. Present, aim and fire. Oh goodness, look at this. Oh, the fire going in. Multiple casualties. Now it's their chance to fire back. They've got to tighten the line up as best they can. France getting ready to present. You can see gaps in the line at the moment. They've got to get it together. And there we go, the fire. Oh, look at that. You can see why the French army was one of the best in the world at this period. And they've claimed a few Russian casualties. Oh my goodness, Maximus with an extremely large pole. I'm sure the girls all love him. There's a man with a flag. Who is this? It's Adolf's daughter. Oberleutnant from the PK. Doesn't she look lovely and buxom? Oh God, she's got a French person after her. Look out. Sergeant Baptiste is looking to lay hands, or in fact lay a 17-incher on her. But yeah, let's not really go there. Whoops-a-daisy. Kind of dug myself into that hole and kept digging. Oh, heavens. A fine kill there by Marksman Umber of the 33rd. And now you can see them getting into a little bit of 2-on-1 against the Russian. Now Umber is under attack and he's down. There's pelvic thrust. What a fine name. And he's just pelvic thrusted into Aldrich. Oh, and another Frenchman goes down. Killer low as well. Over here remains few of the remaining ones. A chosen man, 20 Goodman. And now that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of that stage. And we return on the next stage. Stage 3, Augereau's offensive. The horrendous conditions disorientate the French as they make contact with the Allied line, and a confused fight in the blizzard follows. Now you can see these guys getting set up, the Russians moving out. There you go, Colour Sergeant Major Hanano. Cadet Jelly, look at him, doesn't he look fantastic? Ye gods, what a moustache and a face to go with him. Cadet Kak, or Kark. And there's Kugelblitz. Who's this? Recruit Verdugo, or Verdugo. Oh my goodness, what a face and a half that man has. There's James Oakwood. Of course, the fine Mr. Pelvic Thrust. And there's obviously soldiers at the back here. Alexander Black, Paul Q, of course. And Ocon Emil from the KHJ. Now look at this. Cavalry. The infantry von Nassau. They ain't infantrying right now. They are currently horseborne. And you can see Mao moving out along with Beach and other members of the Clippity Clop faction. Now let's go and see if we can find the French. Here we are, Veteran Adam. And the guys are moving forward under the command of Captain Sneaky Fellow there. Now, who are these fellows? Could this be? Yes, of course, the VA Guard. And there, of course, the Walrus of Command himself. So, 20 men, or 20 good men, I should say. And here you can see through the snow and the blizzard are the horses. Oh heavens, what's going up with Hajar? Fusilier of the 92nd. He's in as a partisan. Out comes the rifle butt. It's time for a bit of butt action. And unfortunately, some of these guys are being taken down by the likes of the infantry von Nassau. And a slice across the back for Duffman of the 33rd. But fortunately, Lance Corporal of Horse Grekos is in there to do a little bit of murderization to avenge his friends and eventually get slaughtered horribly. Never mind. So we move back. Oh, Conscript Mark. Excellent. New fresh meat for the VA Guard. Both figuratively and literally. And then Sergeant Baptiste to the end. Reserve, Mr. LeBlanc. And there was a Renault. And, oh, crikey, look at that. Kashoy, I think that is. Berthaud. Lecause, of course. And you can see them moving in and around as we follow. We watch to see what the Battle Walrus and the members of the VA Guard are up to. Yes. We follow him into the snow. It's getting prepped. Oh, look at that. And presenting. Oh, oh no, they've lost a few members of the VA Guard. But a fine presentation and a turn and a fire together. A beautiful volley, of course. The beautiful drilling of the old guard. Unfortunately, there's not many left of them, I have to say. So, we shall watch the exploits of the Battle Walrus and his troops closely. So, over here, Chosen Man and also Major Cedric, these guys are regrouping, I think it's fair to say. There's a random horse, hello, and there's a rock. Look at that, how exciting is that? Exclusive YouTube rock gameplay right here. Mountain Blade rock gameplay, as enjoyed by Marksman Umbra. So, Umbra has got his rocks off, quite literally. Oh, goodness me. Lance Corporal Pepper has failed, or failed, I should say. And here you can see the 6E. Here's Mr. Faptiful. Oh, heavens, what a name. There's Sod James. Who's this other fellow? It's Apollon CZ and Sergeant Major Scott of the 73rd. So you see these guys moving back to a little bit of support from the likes of the 3P and, of course, the 32nd, who've just lost a friend nearby. Cut down in the snow, the blood leaking onto the white of the snow. Horrible stuff. And you can see them continuing to try and take out multiple members of the French army. There we go. And kill Eylau of the 33rd, and you can now see the Russians in danger of being enveloped. And here they're fighting for their lives against the members of the French army. Hopeless Knight of the 33rd in there as well. And there's Sneaky Fellow looking to finish off the remaining number. Let's have a look. 5 Russians against 40 Frenchmen. Oh, that can't end well. Okay, that seems to be strange where they just disappear into nowhere. But anyway, there you have it, the end of the stage, and we move on to the next one, boys and girls. And here we are on the next stage. And here are the French getting set up. Stage 4, the last stand of the 14th. Blinded by the snowstorm, various divisions of Augereau's corps become scattered as they encounter the Russians, many falling back to Eylau before the onslaught of Russian artillery and musketry. One regiment on the 14th line stand firm bravely, but as the regiments either side begin to retreat, the 14th find themselves surrounded. To protect themselves as best they can, the infantry form squares and prepare to fight to the last man. The 14th never surrender. So, these guys got a hard time ahead of them. They've got to form a square. It's going to be a brutal situation for them. Among the graveyards, which is unfortunately a helpful place to be, kind of saves time later on, but you can see all the regiments trying to form this square, and this is going to be difficult because obviously they're all on separate comms, I think they are. And they've got to try. Ah, there we go. Marechal Bessieres. He's probably now just slapped himself in the head for my pronunciation. So I shall apologise to any bruises that occur as a result of that. Oh, goodness, what's going on here? It's the 33rd. Of course it's the 33rd. It had to be. Bunch of numpties, a lot of them, obviously. So there, of course, yes. The Walrus of Command with a test volley from his well-drilled fellows. Also, over here, Mr. Fapital of the 6th. Fine Major, also sporting excellent moustache. Well, precisely. So, you can now see all the fire coming in. Oh, heavens, what happened there? That was a sudden onslaught of horse there, which kind of broke up a little bit, and I'm not seeing a lot of squariness. This kind of looks like a box. The square has a little bit of a gap in it. Now, here come some Russians charging into the fair. It is the... Oh, God. Julianator is down. Poor lad. Failed before he has even a chance to know if his shot has connected. Now look at this. Cavalry sniffing around the area. There, of course, the VA Guard in their double lines. Well drilled as always. Oh no, we've lost Cadet Rob of the 32nd. Pelvic thrust. No, not the pelvic thrust. Now, here you can see Gem Killer and Zimmerman Udine from the KKPK, and they're sniffing around for opportunities. Oh, hello, horses have arrived. More horses unto the breach, ladies and gentlemen. And the French are broken to attack. Corporal Darkling, armed with a fine 17-inch bayonet on the end of the musket, and nowhere else. As, oh no, veteran Obit. No longer a member of von Nassau. Currently von Corps. Sergeant Beach. You can see him in there with the pole arm. The lance to try and get that extra reach. And unfortunately he got reached in himself. With a fine murderization there by Sergeant Major Alec. And oh no, it looks like the Walrus of Command has been felled. This is bad news for the VA Guards. I'm sure they'll carry on regardless. Oh my goodness, how is this even possible? How is Spoons still alive? And it clearly was must follow Mr. Spoons and find out why this has occurred. So clearly there's some kind of paradox going on in the universe that meant a Spoons has survived for more than one round. So, here is James of the 73rd, and you can see them basically trying to keep their heads on a swivel. Oh heavens, down goes another horsey rider there. Keep their heads on a swivel to deal with the horses coming from all directions. Oh, look out! Oh, a fine sneaky stab into there, but TXM, Lance Corporal of Horse, is now Lance Corporal of Corpse. Oh heavens, who's this over here? These guys have been standing here and firing back. Yes. Oh dear, poor old Hannanor. Shot down as the remaining members. I like the way Fusilier Sweeney's standing behind his friend James Oakwood. Not anymore, he's not. That problem has been solved. And they're dodging left and right as these guys getting set up over here. The NR-19, they've lost a member already. But they're supported round on the right flank by the 92nd. Colonel John Gordon moving in to support his team. So they're coming around on a sneaky roundabout movement as the French still continue to defend this position as best they can. And the melee continues in here. Lance Corporal Richard, other members of the 33rd, Sharpshooter Dude, recruit of the 33rd also, Mr. Hopeless Knight. And of course Nexon of the 3PP. So let's see, look at these guys, they're still producing a decent amount of fire to be placed down upon the enemy. Oh, it's Recruit Schneek of the NR-19, and he's been felled. His opponent, Odakeo, with a fine stab. Oh my goodness, he's actually still alive. Messieres remains alive, and then he dies. Typical. Absolutely typical. There he is, Salzar, the veteran of the 33rd, going ham in the centre there. With a little bit of 17-inch fun. And he seems to be enjoying himself along with Nemesis and Sergeant Major Chef. So they're doing a good job of defending this flag. Who's this person in the centre? There's 20 good men. Of course, he's been chosen, clearly, to guard the flag. And you've got, there he is, of course, the strange paradox that is currently living Colonel Spoons. Don't know how it's happened. The internet will now completely implode. Because as everybody knows, it's not the normal standard fare for commanding officers of Napoleonic regiments to survive. I mean, you just have to look at the history. Yeah, Astir, Smollett. Yeah, it's a sad and brutal history to be a commanding officer in Napoleonic War Regiment. Oh heavens, who's going on? It's Tylorus, and he's in with the sabre, and he's facing off. Oh, look at that, against Sanders, and he's now been felled. So we're watching Sanders as the other members of the French army try and reform. As you've got these fellows over here from the 3PP doing a great job of staying together. And of course, who can forget, of course, the penis pistol. There's the standard officer armaments, I should say. So, the 1st Brigade, 56th, continuing to fire back. And look at this. Oh, who's this man? Sergeant Major Alec. And there's Darkling, who went out for a little bit of a stab and a grab. In come yet more horses. Down go yet more horsemen. Oh, that's brutal. They go sliding to a halt and stabbed in the back and the bottom and the side and diddled from every imaginable direction, which is not necessarily what floats your boat, but we shall see. Oh, fine, stabbings going in, and old Mecco is now dead Mecco. So I would say here the French are doing a great job, even though, look at this, it's a mess here. You got to feel sorry for the maid who has to come in and clear this lot up. It's not going to be good. So there he is. He's back and he's alive again. Bessieres. Marshall. JB. Jean-Baptiste. Maybe. Who's to say? Matus is in there. Who's this hiding behind the horse's arse? Oh, it's Colonel Spoons. Oh, and he kills somebody nicely there as well. Stop hiding behind that horse's arse, Spoons. He's getting very close and personal with that horse's butt. And there we go, he sticks his head up it. Lovely stuff. Just the kind of interesting footage we want to capture here as part of this historical event. Now the Russians dodging left and right, stuttering, charging in. There's Maximus, Lance Bombardier of the 32nd, as the Russians continue to close on the French. Here's Recruit Scotty of the NR-19. More Lancers pour in. The French continue to defend themselves to the hilt. There's Agofan, CZ, Lieutenant Colonel of the 56th. Look at this fine stabbing work coming in. Oh, goodness me. The French have done it. They have defended their fort. Wowzers. And here we are on the next stage. Stage 5, Bennigsen's counter-offensive. With Augereau's attack stalled, his men are thrown back with heavy casualties, retreating to the town of Eylau. The Russians under Bennigsen waste no time in taking advantage of the situation and launch a counter-attack against the frail French centre sheltering at Eylau. Napoleon historically commits his guard to hold the town at all costs. So, as you can see, it's obviously got a little bit chilly in this village, so they decided to warm the place up by setting fire to stuff. And obviously slightly sacrilegious that they've set fire to the church, but you know, difficult to say. It might be a Protestant church and these guys are Catholic, so you know, very difficult to say. We'll have to see. Anyway, as you can see, someone is bonging. Anyone who's bonging? Who is the chief bonger right now? We should move in here and find Mr. Bong. No, we've not managed to find the bonger. Sadly for us. And here is Golden Fizz of the 33rd moving to support his team. Oh, look at these fellows moving out. The 33rd, Fusilier the Hunter, Lance Corporal Aldrich, Recruit Dracula. Doesn't he look handsome? And there, of course, Veteran Salazar at the back. He seems to be running slightly funny, but never mind. And there, of course, Sneaky Fellow. So Salazar and the folks. Oh dear. Russians have got in already. The NR-19 have ambushed. Nicholas Udino, ESO of the 73rd. Look at this fine melee work coming in. He's bleeding slightly, and now he's bleeding a lot more. And as you can see, this barricade isn't exactly great. But we'll have to wait and see. Here is Dawn of War, Fusilier of the 33rd, looking for a place. And look at this. This is how cold it is. It's even snowing indoors. That's serious weather right there, boys and girls. Indoor snow. Kaiserino, Ensign of the 33rd. And here you can see there's Sharpshooter Dude again. Now, let's see what we can find. A recently deceased Russian. Oh, look at this. This is not going to go well for Adolf Greencar. They shut the door behind them. They're going to get behind cover. Oh, they run down the other side. Oh, is this going to happen? What's going to happen here? It's going to be a bedroom fight right now. Oh, in fact, no, it may not be a bedroom. Those are actually, looks like looms for weaving. It is. We're having a good old weave, ladies and gentlemen. And no amount of weaving will get that blood out. So down here you can see Kashoy and other members of the French army defending their position. There's Gabriel F. from the VA Guard. Supporting, of course, more members of the VA Guard. Now, where is the Walrus of Command? Is he still alive? He is! There he is. That handsome devil. And Oberst Delsuna. Oh no, that's a serious faceplant. And you can see them going after it, or possibly not, the remainder of the Russian forces. Here's Maximus. Lance Bombardier with a fine stab into the horse. And another stab into a horse as well. Definitely horsist, this individual. And not a big fan of other people either. And there we go. Golden Thiz has been unceremoniously murdered by his own team. Obviously, weren't very happy with the services he was providing. Oh, fine stab attempt there, sir. But blocking coming in as Maximus is now going a 2-on-1. And he's murdered horribly by a horse. Or more to say, the person on top of said horse. Here we are with Salazar. He makes his way out. There we go. Picks himself up a musket. Ready to repel boarders. Makes a nice kill. Oh dear. And we've lost Onki and we're losing lots of people here. 72 versus 22. So the French still have it all to do. Lots and lots and lots of Russians remain. Crying noob of the 33rd. Now dead noob. Lance Corporal Richard. No more. Oh, could that be? It's Sneaky Fellow, the commanding officer of the line there. Sneaks out. Now, obviously, you're hiding behind a wall, given away by the strange thing on top of your head. But never mind. The Russians opposite. Matakar of the 6th. The LGN CSK. And there, of course, Mr. Faptiful. Trying to take out these guys. Major Cedric going in and goes in for a sneaky stab over the wall. He won't be able to go over that wall. Instead shoots him in the face. Hardly nice, but never mind. Definite officer aiming there. As we're looking at Maximus. And more members of the VA Guard. Dennis and Berto. And there, Guillaume, I think, or Gilliam. Either way, Sergeant Baptiste. And there, Veteran Adam 00138. Whatever happened to the other 137? Maybe it's a big family. Don't know. Difficult to say, but either way. Oh, hello. Specialist Sniper has lost a horse. This is a serious protuberance for him. He will now have to try and deal with the problem. Oh dear. Now he's got French people after him. And they're going to do a number on him. Look at that fine block there by his French opponent. But he gets inside the bayonet and kills Mason. And now he's going after a second one. Sniper, and he gets stabbed in the head by Killer Low. Sadly for him, it was not to be. What's going on here? Oh my goodness, it's Bessieres and other members of the VA Guard fighting to the last man. There's Francois. What's going on with this fellow? Totas, 33rd Fusilier. And there's 20 good men. Now, let's see what they're doing over here. So there's Sharpshooter Dude looking around the corner for a potential enemy. But the enemy has already gone around the other side. And there's Gudino. Or Gudino. Going in for a quick shot. Oh, gets stabbed and then murdered horribly. Oh, this is horrible stuff going in here. As there you can see the 56th. And the NR-47. Oh dear, we just lost another one. The Russians continue to advance. The bell continues to toll. The murdering continues, unabated. And who's this behind the altar? Augereau praying for... No, Augereau playing with his organ, maybe? Difficult to say. Either way, somebody is frantically bonging. So we shall see if we can find out, as we basically just crashed into the bong. So, frantic bonging right now. And there you can see regulation working together with other members of the French army as the Walrus of Command and his troops continue to try and hold this position, along with Sneaky Fellow and other members of the 33rd, and also the NR-47 as well in here. Oh, hello, horsey person. Down goes Beach. And Duffman also in there as well. You can see them doing their best to try and defend this position. The flags being held, the Imperial Eagles, the horse is crashing right through the centre, the men being felled, and of course the horrific team killing. And here you see the French making sure they stay around that flag in case there's anything untoward going on. Oh God, that looks painful. So the bonging continues. Who's bonging? Never find who's bonging. Never mind. Oh, horse crash. There's Rick. Oh, went in for a long distance slice. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't the one he was hoping for against Hopeless Knight. And Hopeless Knight is now hopefully trying not to live up to his name, but sadly, that's exactly what happened for him. And we're looking at Onka from the 3PP. Red-faced and bloody. And taking down some of the enemy. Taking down Augereau as well. And now they've cleared out the church. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of that round. And we move on to the next stage. And here we are. And it's more snow. Yet more snow. How can you tell us? How can you tell we're near Christmas? Anyway, here we are on the next stage. Stage 6, Murat's cavalry charge. With the French centre now as frail as ever, and Ney's corps not yet arrived, the situation for Napoleon looks dire indeed. It is at this point that the fresh Prussian corps now arrives on the field to support the Russian troops, leaving the fate of the battle in little doubt. Napoleon now famously commits his final reserve, 11,000 cavalry under Marshal Murat, to hammer the Allied centre into submission and buy time for Ney to arrive. So, okay. Oh dear, a little bit of a problem there. And they're making columns here with Mr. Faptiful and other members. Let's go and have a look. Look at that, Onka, what a face. Now let's have a look. There's veteran Salazar. Walking back and forth here. CSM, Hanano. Keeping all the boys in order. Specialist sniper of this time now, the infantry von Nassau. The first. Oh heavens, look at this. It's lancers and a lot of them. And many members of cavalry. The 33rd, look at these boys. The VA Guard are in there as well. Robert Nivelle. And of course, the Walrus of Command himself. So, you can see now they are advancing. Led by, of course, Kincaid or Rinsaid in this particular location. This particular time Look at that. It's a serious face right there, boys and girls. Doesn't he look wonderful as he's moving towards what will be a horrible death. For some reason I had a brain fart. Can't imagine why. Probably happens more than I'd like to admit. Anyway, so you can see them now moving, transitioning to a canter. And then soon moving in for a charge. Oh heavens, what is this? Is that a bush? It is a bush. I thought it was a group of people for a second, but no, it's just a bush. And waiting for them is the Russian army. And look at that in the background. You can see the cavalry coming through the what's the word I was supposed to look for it? Through the gloom. Sneaky fellow looking through his spyglass at what's coming. He knows what's en route. The 92nd and friends. Oh dear, really? Gabriel killed him almost immediately at the start. That's very unfortunate. And now you can see them charging onto the Russians. Look at these guys. The fire coming in. The horses being felled and crashing through the lines. Some of these guys making it through the lines only just. Look at this. Old Mekol made it through. There's a reason he's a veteran. He survived the jump through the centre. But look at this. As the numbers and the lancers continue to run around all over the place. Try and cause as much damage as they can. The infantry von Nassau, members of the Swiss, trying to look as spiky and unpleasant as possible to keep the horses at bay. There's Mao. You can see Second Lieutenant. Who's this? It's Farn Edward of the 6E. And who are these fellows over here? Repelling borders, the 3PP. There's Trojan, also with a fine moustache. And now you can see, look at that, Edward has picked up the French tricolour with the Imperial Eagle on top. Now what's going on over here? Who's this man left standing? It's Killer, and the Alliance standing anymore. And that's the end of that round. The stage is over, and we move on to the next one. And we are back with the final stage here by the soup. Stage 7, Murat's charge, on to the guns. Murat's cavalry having broken through much of the infantry to the front. Both columns now push onwards, threatening the Russian second line and their artillery. So as you can see, partaking of a little bit of nourishment before the battle starts, keeping themselves warm, keeping those fingers and toes as warm as they possibly can for the inevitable attack they know is coming. And as you can see, there's some cannoneers in here as well. Salzar in with the cannon. Oh goodness me, they're arriving already. Look at this, and they're taking pot shots at them. The spikes are up to try and deter them. However, that may not be the case. Oh, look at that. And as per the standard fare, the VA Guard catch a cannonball. And there we go. Normality is returned. Colonel Spoons has been horribly murdered. Never mind, poor Spoons. Here you can see Zimmerman from the KKPK, or Zimmerman Undine. And there again, the VA Guard. Oh dear, let's see if we can find those poor fellows. Here they are. Always moving in. Look at this. Mass attack of the VA Guard. Oh, just glorious. Look at that. Oh, somebody just catapulted. Who's this fine fellow, brave fellow fifing in the middle? It's Sneak. He continues fifing for all he's worth. Surrounded by horses And death and destruction. And French people. Derpy Yordi moving in. The fine cavalry sabre. Oh, horse crash. Oh, that could be very bad for him. Looks like he's managed to escape it. They've got to be very careful about the horses crashing into each other as Julianator from the NR19 working with his lads to defend themselves. You've still got the cannon. Kugelblitz. And, oh dear, nice kill onto Lacos with the cannonball. As you can see here, the late departed Lacos currently lying down on the job. Never mind. So, you can see them continuing to push up towards this point to try and take it. Obviously, defenders are going to have limited lives, attackers will not. And Sharpshooter takes down Lepage. The Walrus of Command has been felled. And here we go, Private Shadow of the 33rd looking for a cannonball shot. And a nice attempt there into the enemy, but they weren't bunched up enough. Bit of a mouthful that. In order to do that, and the fine fifing of Sneak continues while he's up to his ankles in snow. There we go, he's going to stand right on top of a big spike, because that won't hurt at all. But he fifes his life away. Look at this. Offensive fifing right here, ladies and gentlemen, as the cavalry comes charging towards him. But he feels like he's safe attached to those spikes. And there we go, they've all crashed into him. Is anyone going to survive it? Well, he still managed to survive for some reason. Oh, he's been attacked, but then his attacker gets murdered. How is this possible? The magician is surviving. Uh-oh. Spoons is going to get him. Spoons is going to kill him. Spoons killed him. Oh, Spoons. No fifing is allowed on his server. No fifing on his watch, and he gets horribly murdered as a result. That's what happens when you kill the musicians. Your imminent demise follows shortly thereafter. So, who's this? It's Haynes, Fusilier of the 33rd, looking to defend the flag, as you can see, controlled, commanded, and protected by the Russian army. Matus from the 3PP, hiding behind an extremely large prick, which is essentially all that is. But anyway, we'll move on. Look at these fine fellows taking pot shots. It's Farn Edward and Tavish and Matzek. Here's Richard and Private Green. More Private Green. The cannonballs of Hauke Bosak from the 3PPXW. Oh, goodness me. Fantastic stuff coming in there right now. As Adam 00138 looking for an opportunity. Oh, missed his, unfortunately, as Vigar Peter from the 56 jumps straight into the soup. So now you can see Cadet Jelly of the 32nd. What a fine name. We heartily approve of said Jelly. And now he is assisting. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The standard for any kind of Napoleonic Wars commanding officer. Spoons has his head knocked off by a cannonball. Oh dear. So, as you can see, these guys doing a good job of defending themselves. It's only 1:54. And there we go, another member of the VA Guard is felled with the cannonballs. Oh dear, poor VA Guard. Here we go. Maxime Lassalle charging forward. The swords are drawn. Oh no. Oh dear. Members of the VA Guard felled as they charge in. Look at this. Oh, down goes Lassalle. But the horses continue to circle. And as you can see, James has picked up a rather nice lance, which he's using to attack the lancers that have now fallen upon his team. Oh, hello. Who's this fellow? It's Gargi of the 56th, and it looks like he's going after a commanding officer. Oh, Robert Nivelle of the VA Guard is felled. Fusilier the Hunter of the 33rd. And there you can see another man on a horse, still circling. There's Guillaume. Look at these fine fellows. And he's continuing to circle to try and get that all-important kill. Who's this man? It's Eylau. And he's going up against the multiple Russian forces that remain. There's Corporal Darkling, recently unseated from a Hoss, working together with Scarhead. 56 French, 83 Russians. Wow. Still all to play for, boys and girls. Still all to play for. As Poros Yogis gets taken down. There's Jarlagand, and there, of course, Sneak continues his fine fifing work until he gets murdered horribly by Bihan, conscript of the VA Guard. Who's this cannonball? Oh, correction. Ernherin gets taken down. And you can see now, oh goodness me, look at all the damage here. And all the dead bodies, it's just, and the flags as well. Look at this. Absolutely fantastic array. The minutia. Oh, Augereau looking for a bit of a punch-up. Look at this. And the punch-up is exactly what he got. More sort of a poking with a large stick, but never mind. So Swiss Boy makes his way away from the soup. Curious to know what flavour soup that is. That looks... Could that be pumpkin soup? Or something else? I don't know. It's difficult to say. My soup recognition skills are not what they should be. But anyway. Who's this fellow here? Oh, there's Schwarzenegger. And there's Cadet Kark of the 32nd. And John Gordon is felled, and another member of the VA Guard, two in fact, felled by cannonballs again. I have to say, the cannonballs seem to have this kind of magnetic attraction to the members of the VA Guard. Cannot explain it. Maybe they've got sort of magnetic equipment upon them that helps attract a large ball of steel towards them. Difficult to say. Have to ask them in person. We'll have to see. Down goes Dingalong. Also in here, as you can see, Bosak of the 3PP, and you can see the Lancers being finished off around the area of the soup. Of course, most important that the soup is defended, as multiple Russians are failed by Recruit Rune of the 33rd. Is he going to go in for the cannon? No, he's not. He's going to go in for the corpse. Rune is now no more, and the Russians have defended the fort. Wow. Pretty damn good, ladies and gentlemen, and that has been it for yet another 33rd historical line battle. Thank you so much to all the regiments that attended. Thank you, of course, so much to the 33rd Regiment for all their hard work and dedication to the Napoleonic Wars community. And, of course, thank you to every single player who has attended this event, and the fun and enjoyment that comes about as a result of it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you again for more Napoleonic Wars soon. Take care, everyone. Cheery byes.